Good morning, and welcome to the 2013 Commit Forum. I'm Elliot Clark. I'm the CEO of Shared Expertise. We're the publishers of Corporate Responsibility Magazine, the producers of the Commit Forum, and the managers of the Corporate Responsibility Officers Association, soon, by the way, to be redubbed the Corporate Responsibility Association. That renaming requires government approval, which also requires we actually have a government, okay? We think we may have one in the future. So over the, yeah, enough political humor. I'm going to start to get dangerous in a minute. And God knows what people are tweeting right now. That just scares the hell out of me, okay? So over the next few days, we're going to focus on the good business of corporate responsibility. And yes, it is good business. We're going to be hearing from top thinkers. We're going to be reviewing some research and data studies. And we're going to hear from leaders of major companies about their experience in managing a business well and contributing to society. Okay. I just want to make one comment. I'm off script, so the guys back there, like running the teleprompter, are just going nuts right now. All right. One of the things that we just saw was about culture, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. And I was with Jim Marin last night, and one of the comments he made really stuck with me, that strategy is great, but culture will eat strategy's lunch. So when you think about good business and how culture drives performance, that's incredibly important. And when we think, we'll be discussing what business can do for society and how to best manage your corporate responsibility programs. When I think of employee engagement and community development and sustainability, I see it simply as looking forward, planning ahead. All right, so quickly, by show of hands, how many people in the audience are passionate, really passionate about corporate responsibility? If you are, raise your hands. Okay. All right, so you can put your hands down. So now let me ask you another question. All right, how many people in the audience think planning for the future is a bad idea? Please raise your hands. Okay, if sustainability is about planning. Okay, all right, never mind. All right, it's about planning for the future. So first of all, I'd like to thank our sponsors, our premier sponsors, MGM Resorts, Mosaic, and State Street. We also have AT&T, Brown Flynn, Campbell, Sprint, KPMG, Pernod Ricard, and they're bringing the liquor, so really thank them, okay? Yeah, we appreciate the bandwidth stuff and all, but the liquor, I mean, that by 5:30 tonight, you'll understand. Allegis Group and Lockheed Martin, okay? So I want to thank our partners, particularly our track partners, the Global Reporting Initiative and the Council encouraging corporate philanthropy, and of course the New York Stock Exchange. I want to thank our speakers. I'd also like to thank the leadership of the Corporate Responsibility Officers Association, if I could. Will the members of the Board of Trustees please stand up? I can't see a damn thing. They could be making, because the light's in my face. Nikki Kelly, Pete Sherrard, Richard Crespin, and the Executive Director, Allie Williams, okay? And now the other members of the Advisory Board, please stand up. If you are interested in CROA, we will have a lounge set up or where you can find Allie. Allie, raise your hand, okay, the Executive Director. And he can, answer any questions you may have about that. I'd also like to thank my team, the Shared Expertise team, led by the VP of Marketing, Bill McRae, and Heather Nielsen, our membership coordinator, who it was her birthday yesterday, and she actually worked till midnight, so that was, a really wonderful birthday party. So, as a CEO, and I've been in the C-suite of public companies, I am conscious and appreciative of the capabilities of a great team. Now, I want to talk for a moment about a recent study. I want to start you off thinking about an important topic. This is a study that we did, Corporate Responsibility Magazine did, about reputation and how it impacts you and the members of your team. Now, in this particular study, we focused on whether new employees want to become part of your team depending on how they perceive your reputation. Okay, so let's bring up the presentation, and specifically, this study, was the cost of a bad reputation. It's a survey that we did, and it was made possible through the generous sponsorship of Allegis Group. It's one of the world's largest employment firms. Allegis Group Services is a multi-billion-dollar company that provides staffing, professional services, and a host of human capital management consulting solutions. They also own the Ravens. So if you use them, I'd ask for tickets, all right? So the study, each year we perform a study in the US. This year we had 1,010 participants, 552 of whom were employed, 458 were unemployed or not employed, and we wanted to determine the reputation impacts in their decisions to accept jobs. So what we found out is that if you think about bad reputation, what does this cost you? And I know all the CROs in the room have pencils up, okay, because we're about to write something down about justification, ROI on good practices. It costs millions of dollars in additional recruiting cost to source, offer, and onboard candidates if you have a bad reputation. Unfortunately, while recruiting expense is by millions, we can show mathematically, and we're going to work with the Allegis Group on a follow-up study, that the cost in payroll is in the billions if you are a major company. Okay? We just saw MGM Resorts invest a fortune in their corporate responsibility and culture. That's an example where they have 62,000 employees. Largest employer in the state of Nevada. Their taxes alone represent 12% of Nevada's state budget. 1/8. So what do you think their payroll expense is? Well, I think it's fairly high. I mean, I'm going to guess, So, let's talk about who was in the study, how we get to this. Let's talk about who responded. So these are the demographics. 40% were employed or full-time. 8% were part-time. 7% were self, so that's 47% employed, 20% retired. About 7% student, homemakers, 12% unemployed. So 1% just, they don't know. They don't know what their status is, all right? So we do a tremendous number of surveys and a lot of research. Our VP of research is out there, and we're always looking at this going, how do they not know? I mean, so anyway, but this is very representative of America's current demographic, okay? This worked. I mean, we had the right sample size. And then if we take a look and say, what's the likelihood of accepting a job if you were offered a bad company, if you're unemployed? All right, so here's what it is. 48% said, 21% not very likely, 48% not at all likely. 69%, so you are a company that's had a scandal, 2/3 of the workforce will not consider going to work for you. Boxed out. So think about next time you're, talking to someone in your organization who might be, from an ethical perspective, thinking about something that, I don't know, might make the front page of the New York Times. This is what happens. So what percentage pay increase, if you were going to consider it, would you need? So there's 12% in this box right here, 7 and 5, from 1 to 20%. And this is where most offers are. I used to spend a lot of time, I came out of human resources. But here we go, 33% say they want over 50% increases. Now, I want to give you a quick point on statistics. And I have a good friend who's, he and I are both labor economists, and he's at Wharton School, where I'm a senior fellow. This made us believe the study was very accurate. Because you know what this says? For 33%, 50% increases, 1/3 of the populace could be bought. You might go, that's terrible. But that is economics. The utility curve is rising very dramatically. Someone's going to accept the job. okay? 31% said forget it. 1/3, I wouldn't accept it under any circumstances. But what does this mean? That reasonably 64%, because if someone's given 50% increases, I'm going there, all right? But no one does. 64% of this group that would consider taking a job or the employed are saying forget it. 69% of unemployed, 64% of employed, forget it. Roughly similar, okay? Now, one of the things to bear in mind with unemployed is, would they really turn down a job if they needed a job, if it was a company with a bad reputation? Maybe not. But if they had the opportunity to go anywhere else, they'd take someone else's job. So if you're a company with a bad reputation, getting people to accept your offers is much harder, and the amount of money you have to pay to get people is much higher. So now let's look at a company with an excellent reputation. We asked it one way, we had to ask it the other way. 22%, 1 to 10, 14%, 11 to 20. Now remember, I said this 1 to 20 range is really the sort of the range that you look at as being reasonable and where most offers are made in America. That's 36%. 6% said they would reject the idea right out of hand versus 31% on the last slide. So let me just summarize this for you. Prospective employees are 3 times more likely to accept a reasonable offer from a company with a good reputation. 3 times more likely. 33% would require an offer in excess of 50%. It's a pretty high number, 1.5 times the offer that you would need for someone if you were a company with a good reputation. But here's the showstopper, okay, in the data. Prospective employees will reject an offer from a company with a bad reputation 5 times more likely to reject than if they got an offer from a company with a good reputation. That's powerful. Now, there's a lot of stuff in this study that we've got, demographic breakdowns. We discovered, by the way, that women are more driven by this than men, more values driven. Okay, so all the ladies in the audience can look at the men and go, you guys are really a little beneath us, okay? So there's more demographic breakdown. We're going to be putting together a much more elaborate report, and we can cut the data however you want, by gender, by ethnicity, by demographic. And if you want to report, just contact Vince Albergato. The CRA is going to be providing reports to all of its members. If you want to join the CROA at some level, then you can contact Allie Williams to get a copy of that report. But that's very powerful. 5 times more likely to turn a job down. You want to go and justify your corporate responsibility budget to the CEO, show them those slides. So this is what you need to think about. What do prospective employees think about your reputation? So with that, I want to thank you for your attention.